Can't wait for the new Iacon 5000 race to start. Wait, wrong Sentinel. What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers 1 Prime Changers, Sentinel Prime. Now, of course, this is in the Prime Changers category, so he will come out as being a tiny deluxe. Personally, however, he does come out as one of the best out of the 5. Not only does he look really great in details, but he also comes packing with accessories. And the transformation is a little simplistic, but we'll get to that later. Now, to talk about the character of Sentinel Prime in Transformers 1, there is not much we know about him other than getting strangled by a Quintesson and chasing the two miners that weren't allowed to be in the race. There's just something weird about that official clip. Now, from a design point of view for TF1 Sentinel Prime, I think it's a really nice looking design. I believe this design is taking inspiration from the G1 Sentinel Prime. I could be wrong on that, let me know in the comments. But as you know, the Sentinel Prime we all grew up knowing and hating was of course the Sentinel Prime from Dark of the Moon, as he was responsible for the brutal murder of everyone's favorite Autobot Ironhide. I'm sure everyone loved the design of Sentinel Prime, but not the character. But it's okay, he perished satisfyingly, with of course a crater to his forehead. But now, how is this Sentinel Prime going to go about? Will he end up doing the same thing that the Sentinel Prime from Dark of the Moon did, or die by the hand of the Quintesson? I personally do not know, but I do look forward to watching the movie to find out. With that being said, before we take a look at the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So starting off in the front, you get this nice CG rendition of Sentinel Prime's alt mode, and of course the rest is all words, names, and logos. On the top is the Transformers 1 logo, accompanied by the main cast for Transformers 1, and then you turn down to the bottom, it's all boring. On one side is some more of the main cast for Transformers 1, and on the other side is, of course, Sentinel Prime himself. And then finally, you spin to the back, you get a little more info of what you get inside the packaging, and on the bottom is, again, all boring. Now, one thing to point out is that the alt mode over here and the alt mode over here are two different alt modes, as this one is more of a Seeker design, whereas this one I'm getting Beast Hunters Deluxe class Prime Starscream vibes, or at least that's what this alt mode reminds me of. However, whenever that Voyager class Sentinel Prime comes about in the studio series, I sure hope he transforms into this Seeker-ish jet, as I believe this one looks a little better and is more accurate. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the bucks. Now let's get back to the figure. So starting off, painting and sculpting is pretty good. There's about 3 primary shades of coloring here, that being black, some blue, and of course this golden broad-ish sort of paint, which is just the simple color of the molded plastic, I believe. However, there are a few smidges of paint, as well as the head sculpt being painted silver. Nice head sculpt, by the way. Now, usually when I collect figures, it's from the movieverse, but I don't remember having a figure with this type of footwear, as with this in place does prevent the foot from moving up and down completely, but I suppose it is no big of a deal, and I'm sure this could be tweaked in the studio series. Now, for the kibble, well, starting off with the flat backpack accompanied by some folded in wings. It's not so bad, other than playing around with this guy too much to the point where the backpack does sometimes snap off for some peculiar reason. There are plenty of tabs that hold this backpack into place, but somehow it does end up finding itself to pop off, just not right now because it is being presented on camera. Let's hope it stays that way. Going back to more kibble, there is of course some alt mode kibble on the arms, which probably would not have been an issue if they didn't move around a lot, but thankfully with the leg kibble they are tabbed in nice and secure. Now for quality, well, the joints for the legs are not too tight, not too loose. Same thing with the wings, kind of. The forward-backward movement and the up and down movement do have a silent ratchet joint, and the shoulders are slightly tight, but nothing too serious. However, the hinge joint that holds the arm in place does not do a good job at keeping them from flopping around, but the shoulder movements are alright. So pretty much everything is fine, just this that's not fine. I sure hope not all the copies suffer from this problem, as there is quite a lot to like about this toy. And now let's move on to accessories. To simply start off with the boring accessory, that being his shield, which seems to be painted pink on the sides. Also, I believe those are turrets on the top, so technically this guy can defend himself and attack with this accessory. After that are these smaller pistols or turrets, whatever you would like to call them, which tab in nice and snug onto the hands, and here he is dual wielded. You are also given the option to have them stored on his wings. And lastly, for accessories, he also comes with a pair of longer turrets, which pretty much serve no other function other than to stay on his shoulders on the top. And yeah, that's pretty much all they do. With that being put in mind, they can also be on a swivel joint. These are blast effect compatible, by the way. Much like the other pair of accessories, these turrets can also be stored on the wings as another way of weapons storage. And with that pretty much being said for the accessories, here Sentinel Prime is fully armed and fully equipped. Forgot to mention that this arm is only compatible with the shield and not the other arm, as there is no 5mm port for the shield. Now, I believe Sentinel Prime here, out of the other 4 Prime Changers, is the one that comes with the most accessories. There is another figure that comes with a little more than 1 accessory other than this guy, but that's going to be for another review. Now, before we move on, one more thing I would like to showcase is Sentinel Prime holding his accessories from Dark of the Moon. Sheesh, looks just about his size. But now with the accessories out of the way, we can move on to Articulation, starting off ball joint at the head, which allows an up and a down, and a swivel. The wings can move back and forth, and can also move up and down. Forgot to mention, just in case you find the wings annoying, you can pop them off with 0 problems. But anyways, full rotation at the arm, bend at the shoulder, an extended bend at the shoulder, bend at the elbow, elbow swivel, no wrist swivel, but hey, there is of course a waist swivel, legs can spread, leg can move forward, can move backwards, bend at the knee, knee swivel, the foot is on a slight up and down movement, and lastly the foot is also on a pivot joint. And yeah, that's pretty much it for articulation. Now moving on to size comparison. Starting off with fellow Prime Changers, I have already reviewed Orion Pax, Alpha Trion, previously reviewed the Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. To add figures of the characters that we saw from the official clip, here he is next to RC, Sunstreaker, Ratchet, Ironhide. Here he is next to the Studio Series Sentinel Prime, Bayway Sentinel Prime. Here he is next to the Studio Series Ironhide, which is a character he killed in another universe. I don't think that will be repeated in this universe. Hopefully not. Bayway Ironhide. Here he is next to a character he fought in another universe, that being the Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime, or at least the latest version of the Bayway knockoff. And lastly, here he is next to the Studio Series concept art Bumblebee movie Megatron, and here he is next to the rest of the Prime Changers that I have reviewed so far. I have 2 others that I haven't reviewed, and I won't showcase them just yet. But for now, here he is with the other 2, that being Orion Pax and Alpha Trion. Now, personally, it would be great to see all 3 of these be made into the Studio Series, with of course Sentinel Prime here being confirmed as a Voyager class. That's exciting. Let's hope the same could be said for Alpha Trion. I do really like his design in the movie, and I would love to see a Voyager class version of him, as I believe he is supposed to be taller than Orion Pax anyways. Now, speaking of Orion Pax, it would also be great to see a deluxe version of him, despite him being cogless, meaning he cannot transform into anything, but I'm sure they could come up with a few compromises, as they did do that with the mainline Orion Pax. Of course, time will tell, but with this new Sentinel Prime being in the Studio Series as a Voyager, I just hope he transforms into that Seeker-ish jet mode, as of course that alt mode is leaps and bounds better than the alt mode chosen for the mainline Sentinel Prime. So speaking of alt mode, I believe now is just about the right time to move on to transformation, which is pretty straightforward. So starting off, you will want to close that panel down, move this shoulder up, and then rotate this blue section down. Same goes for the other side. After that, moving on to the wings, you will want to move this panel outwards, close this whole section down, same thing for the other wing, and then untab this entire back section and move it out. After that, you just want to shift this whole assembly backwards, and after that, move the shoulder out, rotate this entire section and then move it back. Same process implies with the other arm. And then lastly, you just close this whole section in. After that, you might want to move this whole back section outwards, as you will have to focus on the legs next. Rotate the leg like this. Open this entire section outwards, make sure it's out completely, and then close this whole leg section in backwards. Same thing for the other side. And lastly, you just want to close these two black pieces together, and then close in these two pieces right here. After that, you just want to collapse this whole section down, and after that, here you have Sentinel Prime in his alt mode, which looks something along the lines of a jet, just an odd looking cyber jet. This, of course, however, is not accurate by any means whatsoever, as the alt mode presented in the movie, I believe, is supposed to be something along the lines of a seeker jet. But for now, with the mainline Prime Changer Sentinel Prime, this is what has been worked with, and I guess it's alright. The painting and sculpting, pretty good. Does consist of the same paint scheme as what was seen with the robot mode. However, on the front there is a little bit of silver painted to indicate the cockpit, and there is a little bit of robot mode kibble sticking out when you look at this guy on the top. Is it a big deal? Probably not, as at least the robot mode kibble is tabbed in nice and snug. One thing to point out is that these wings are a little loose, so they do come out as being flappy wings. Now, moving on to accessory storage. Starting off, the shield is placed on the top right there, which of course the shield could be facing forward or backwards for rear defense, as was advertised in the packaging. The long turrets pretty much stay in the same spot, and the other turrets are stored on the other side of the wing. With that being said, here is the alt mode of Sentinel Prime fully equipped. Honestly, this looks as if it's enough firepower to take down a seeker jet. Wait a minute, the seeker jet is equipped with plenty of blasters as well, just not as much as what we're seeing with here. For a brief comparison, here he is alongside the Prime Changer's Orion packs in his alt mode, and of course here he is next to the Alpha Trion, and here is a comparison with all three of them together. Again, if all three of them here are scaled accurately, then that means this guy would be genuinely enormous if he were to exist in real life. Can't wait for that Studio Series version of Alpha Trion. Hopefully he's not just a reshell of the Rise of the Beasts Rhinox. But anyways, let me know in the comments which one out of the three is your favorite in alt mode or in robot mode. And let me know in the comments which one you are most excited for to see in the Studio Series. And I think that's pretty much all I had to say for this guy. Overall, he's a solid figure. He comes with a lot of accessories, his transformation is fine, his alt mode's okay. It's just hopefully if you do pick this figure up, he doesn't have the same issues on the shoulders as my copy has. So watch out for that. Other than that, I assure you he's pretty fun to handle. If you are looking to pick this figure up, I believe he is available on Amazon for $19.99. But I believe you have a chance to find him at Target and Walmart. However, out of all the Walmarts I've been to, I believe most of them just have the Quintesson, B127, and Orion packs. But in case you do find Sentinel Prime at Walmart, be sure to let me know in the comments. Now, with that being said, with the Deluxe Prime Changer Sentinel Prime, I am looking forward to that Voyager class Studio Series Sentinel Prime, as it is quite a big deal that he is a little bit on the bigger scale than the Deluxe scale. Let's just hope his accessories are just as good as this guy's as well. Maybe even better. But will you be picking that figure up? Be sure to let me know in the comments. And I think that's pretty much it. If you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload. Let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!